women's right is the rights of women is always questioned, um, and always part of people who have questions about Islam. They ask about things like this, also the Sharia, and they have some questions and most of, if not all of the time, misunderstandings. And Islam gave women rights long before feminism, or this pseudo neo-feminism. Um, and Afghanistan is a huge target of we're seeing women's education and other things. Supposedly, women are being educated and things like this, and they're not being allowed to do certain things. Many of which I do not feel is, and many scholars will say, is not in line with Islam. Some of it which it is, some of it which isn't, or maybe extreme. Um, Daniel haqiqatjou, he had an interview with Dilly Hussain on 5 pillars. You can see it. I don't know if the interview has been edited or not, but from what I've seen, one thing that I'd like to say, he says, paraphrasing, um, English, math, science, or whatever else that we learn isn't fard, and hence girls and women do not have to go through that, and they can go through Islamic education. The fard the line, okay. Nobody said in Islam, English, math, science, whatever else is fard, it isn't. However, when he wants a doctor for his wife, or a teacher for his, or a mosque teacher for his daughters, or anything like that, then he should say the same stuff and just let men deal with his wife if she's giving birth, for example. He's not going to say that. He wants to pretend that certain things are the case when they're not. And it's not just the doctor. The doctor is the main example used because everybody needs at some point, whether from their birth to various points of their life, they will need to visit the doctors, hospitals, or whatever else. And then he also says, there's so many things he says, but I'm just going to say a few things. And it's not an attack on him, but it's these things I do not think, how can he say these things? And he also says, in the mosque, women don't need any positions, leadership positions, or positions that aren't leadership, but within the mosque, in the community, and other ways that someone from the sister side should marry the imam, and then they can influence the things in the mosque. They can take feedback from the sisters and say it to the imam. So in the similar way, if he sends his sister if he sends his sister, mother, child, wife, whatever, to the mosque, is he okay with men teaching them? So then, okay, and then you do need a female teacher, and then as someone who's overseeing the education of the females and is observing and is aware of what's happening more than the imam is, because he's dealing with the men, then just saying that this teacher, female teacher, should just tell the imam and he'll sort it out is not acceptable, because he's not overseeing what's happening there. He's not dealing with it day to day, putting everything across, and he wants to use the example of in the time of the Prophet. Then he should look at other examples, and this isn't open back door, whatever he was saying about, in terms of, oh, it's going to start with this, and then we're going to have mixed gatherings and whatever else. Nobody is saying that. There's plenty of good examples in the UK. Women are on the board. There's not been any scandals, any wrongdoings. Everyone's benefited. Particularly the sisters have benefited. Just a couple of things that he said there that aren't acceptable. And there's much more, but I'm not going to go into it because it's going to get long. It's 4 minutes already. But lastly, I want to say education, which isn't necessarily Islamic, but doesn't go against Islam, isn't haram. And we are told to seek beneficial knowledge. Beneficial knowledge isn't restricted to Islam. So saving one life, again, with the doctor example, you're going to learn that in college and university and whatever else, and then you saving your life, that's beneficial, but you're not necessarily Islamic knowledge. But as long as the knowledge doesn't go against Islam, there's no issues with it. And as long as things like taking care of the home, careers and things are compromised, then what is wrong with that? And in this day and age, for someone to become a doctor, they might be 27 and then they can get married. That's how people get married in these days and ages. And they can do it in part-time or whatever else, so they can look after the homes. So for him to just completely be like hardcore, and this is not in the sense of how the non-Muslims might say Islamist or whatever, but he is taking views that he does not need to take. And when push comes to shove, then he will not send his wife or daughter or mum or sister to be seen by a male doctor. He will ask for a female doctor and other aspects. So why is he saying all of this to the internet? And then I'm pretty sure when it comes to these things, he does not just say, oh, just get anybody. And then even then, if you have females in the industry, you want to choose between a non-Muslim and a Muslim who knows a bit more about the Islamic rulings and things like this. So even if you say there's females, you want Muslim females. And there can be ways that they do it in accordance to Islam, and that can be done in Afghanistan. And I'm pretty he keeps using the example of Afghanistan, which was brought up. Even he will say there are many examples in Afghanistan which are not in line with Islam, in terms of you cannot force people to do X, Y, and Z, which they have been doing. This isn't Sharia, and many of these things that they have been forced to do, they are not in line with Sharia. You can't force someone to do some of the things that they have been doing, and their behavior isn't like they are all Sheikhul Islam and they're bringing out, they're implementing Sharia. They are not doing that. So this is something that his followers and him should think about. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. If he responds, he responds. It's not for a response. It's for a awareness that such things are not correct and beneficial. And there's a way to deal with pseudo neo-feminism, so feminists who are extreme, and this isn't the way. And this will in fact make it even worse. What do you want them to do? From 16, stop education in terms of in the West, and just sit at home till they get married, if they get married soon. And then in terms of in the West, you don't want them to go beyond follow the line. You don't think that's necessary for them. Then what do you want them to do? Follow the line does not take long. So let's say because they're only learning Islamic education, like you say, then follow the line, they will be done by the time they are 14. So you want them to, and not go any further. So you want them to get married at 14. Is that what you're saying? In places like Afghanistan, this isn't Islam, and you can use your fancy terminology, use the jargon, all of these things. But when it comes down to it, the basic thing that will end all of your argument is, does your wife, daughter, sister or mother seen by a male doctor? And if they are seen by a female doctor, then if it's a non-Muslim doctor, would you prefer it to be a Muslim female doctor? And I'm no doubt you're going to say yes. Then we do need education, and education which isn't contrary to the Sharia and isn't compromising on the family unit. There's nothing wrong with it, and in fact it could be beneficial, particularly in this society. And these examples are rare, but they're more common nowadays, and you still have to take it into consideration women that are widows, that are divorced, that have now they have to take care of the children. You want them to work with what? No knowledge. They've not studied anything, and you've not given them further education because they're just going to be at home. Then what do you expect them to do? And because many of these people have not been educated and they can't leave and they rely on money from the husband, what do? They stay in relationships where they have been physically abused. And education is definitely something that should be part of the lives of women.